Alright guys, Scrappy again. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day. So far, OpTic are in desperate need of finally getting some CDL points on the board this evening. They have a winnable series, it must be said, but Shotzzy apparently over the last couple of days has become increasingly convinced that maybe OpTic need to move back to the downtown facility in Dallas if they want to start winning series again. Hex is not particularly happy, it seems, with this situation and saying, look guys, let's get some wins on the board first before we start granting some of these requests again. Lots of other stories on the day as well, especially Huke kind of frying on the flex. That has certainly raised some eyebrows. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I greatly appreciate it. Plenty to get into. Firstly, hear from Clay, because I know there's like a feeling around Clay in the community that, oh, well, you know, he's just there at the Falcons to collect the bag and all this. Is he really committed to the project and this type of stuff? And look, Clay actually said this in the replies. I hate getting these type of tweets because I put a majority of my time and energy towards this team to make them competitive. I could have made way more money doing other things. Pretty interesting, right? Because look, I don't know how much money Aches made working for Ubisoft and XDefiant, but I imagine he was on a pretty nice salary. It's the type of thing that Clay could potentially do, and I'm sure there were opportunities and offers for Clay to do, you know, some other similar ideas elsewhere. Maybe many things Clay could have done. We also don't really know what the Falcons are spending in cards. Obviously, you'd presume that Clay's on a nice salary. But if the Falcons wanted to spend big and decided to commit serious resources to cards, you'd have imagined they might have like signed some players that would have required big salaries and buyouts to get them, right? So, you know, my feeling would be, okay, maybe Falcons next year, they do take a step and say, okay, we are going to commit significantly more resources to make this work. But for now, they're probably not necessarily, because they don't really need to with the team that they formed. So it's unlikely that if the players are getting paid X, that Clay's getting paid 500k a year. That's my feeling, but intrigued to your thoughts in the comments. Still wishing those guys the best. Yesterday's series was actually entertaining to watch, which has been nice, because sometimes when you watch the Falcons, it's, you know, there's kind of no point. But, you know, they did play better yesterday, no doubt. FaZe played okay, but it wasn't, again, massively pretty. I think today's series between Gorillas and OpTic is going to be massively influential in terms of how these guys actually end up getting on, because I don't know how to call it, really. I mean, logic tells me that Gentlemates should win, but yeah, intrigued to your thoughts in the comments. We'll get to that in a second. FaZe got the job done. It wasn't exactly pretty. Drazah was really the hard carry for them this series, which is pretty impressive from Drazah, just because, look, if anyone is ever going to get dropped from FaZe, it is probably going to be Drazah, right? That's just how it's likely to be. But, you know, he's honestly been really good for this team. And I know that he mentioned that there's some storm giving him issues with his power at the moment. Hopefully that resolves itself, because they do play again this evening. But the numbers were like this, and obviously we talked about them yesterday. I just thought it was worth discussing briefly this whole Cellium thing, right? Because, you know, with Drazah having 104 kills and Cellium on 78, it's not like Cellium was playing painfully slow, but it's not like Lunas and Priestahh are a fast AR pairing, and they had the same amount of kills as Cell. So it just has been a bit of a talking point that Cellium, you know, in recent series, maybe has regressed a little bit to where he was right at the start of the season, compared to where he was, you know, a month or so in when FaZe really started to figure it out. So it's a talking point, and the Cloud9 series today is very interesting, right? I think FaZe are the favourites for sure. I mean, they're 5-1, but like New York could make it very interesting tonight. I think that is worth keeping in mind. This is also interesting. So Ronnie mentioned this. There's a Challengers Pass for Major 4 that you can obviously buy if you want to play the tournament. Now, I think this used to be a lower price, but they've also decided that in actually to get the ticket, you've also got to get tickets to the DreamHack event, and as a result, the price is substantially higher than it might otherwise have been. So, like, I don't know if that's going to turn some teams off. At the end of the day, it's an event that teams want to attend and win, because if you win it, you qualify for the World Cup guaranteed, which is a pretty nice exchange of value, to be fair. Scrappy and the Thieves boys, they secured, I think it's the second best ever qualifier run. They were 21-2 map count. Toronto, I think, had done a 15-1 previously for a 5-0 series result. So, yeah, one of the most impressive qualifier stints you're going to see. Okay, did they play FaZe in the stint? No, so, you know, it is what it is. But still, it was impressive. Scrappy, as he was mentioning, his perspective on that Rocker series. Map 3 was a weird one, especially because it was to break the map win streak record, but it's not like they're going to be losing too much sleep over that. But plenty else to discuss as well, including several clips last night going down from 8s. And this is a couple of the ones that I wanted to get into. Firstly, you know, Shotzzy was getting involved in the 8, Skies was there, Neptune, Simp, Kremp, and Huke, Drazah, of course, as well, and there were a couple of other series happening as well, but it's notable just a couple of the plays from Huke and certainly from Sib, and even from, you know, Shotzzy. There was a couple of clips doing the rounds. I feel like, unfortunately for Shotzzy, nothing that he does, maybe it's not unfortunate, because on some level it might be deserved after all the comments that he made at the start of the season, right, certainly back in January. But it doesn't really matter what he does, he can't exactly win, because if he fries in 8, like if he has a nice clip in 8, he's gunning people, like this kill here was pretty insane, you know, making some ridiculous plays. That was a kill on Sib there as well, that final one. People are just going to say, oh, well, you know, he can do it at 8s, but he can't do it in the matches, right? And that's exactly what people were saying in reply to this tweet. So, you know, this is a pretty crazy moment to end up the 8s here. It was 244, 249. Shotzzy goes in, gets a couple of kills, banks the nade off the wall, and, you know, then goes for the final chow, hits the contest, guns this guy as well, and ends up winning the game. And, okay, great clip, phenomenal moment from Shotzzy. But, of course, the replies are going to be like, and there were loads of this effect, like, you know, why don't he do it in matches? We're gassing up 8s matches, you know, but he gets smoked in a real game. Like, you know, it's just, you can't win right now. It is what it is. Couple of clips to share. One from Sib, one from Huke, and then also one from Hex, because there was discussion, I think, in the vlog the other day that a couple of the players would prefer a move back to where they were in downtown Texas rather than back at the Hex quarters. Now, this is not something that's going to be easy to execute, and Hex is not particularly willing to comply with the way that things currently sit.
Trust me.
He's so good in AIDS.
Buddy had no flow, promise you.
Honestly, he didn't even like push after his kills. He was just holding the power spots.
Fuck.
Jesus.
Hey, responding. Can you hold it right?
Middle.
Yeah, right, dead.
I'm gonna try to go up all on us.
Outer trips, dead.
I can't get time.
Guys and Ant.
We're missing one.
Ant's on one shot. One's in one area.
Alright, I'm looking for it.
Dead, one more.
Alright, Michael Vault. Yo, one guy's right side you.
He went mid.
You.
I'm watching their time.
He is you.
One's gonna go front, I think.
Yeah, let's see the front.
He slid out. Shotzzy's dead on time. Inner dead.
We're
Last
looking for
guy.
one.
Kremp.
I'm one shot.
Yep.
I'm pushing
New
over.
fault.
Yo, they're close. He went close.
Front ammo.
Hold on.
Two front of me.
The guy timing is dead.
No front pillar.
I'm pitching. Block.
I'm blocking. There's 4. There's 1 back left.
Yeah, there's 3 on me here. Yo, two on me mid. Another one mid on me.
Out left.
Out left. Weak.
All left, dead.
Yo, one went top cat on me. Yeah, top cat. E John, you shot. Yo, you went con. Two con. Another one con.
I bring something else too.
Listen, if they don't win a match this weekend, we got to move them. We got to move them. They got to play somewhere else.
Wait, 100%.
We play LAG to end out the weekend.
I'm gonna put
the
them over
watch
here.
party in that room.
No, we're gonna put them right here, right there, so they can hear the watch
they
party.
would hate
Really?
that.
Shame.
You gotta understand that at a certain point, without performance, you don't get Papa's love. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah. So we do what Papa needs to get done in order to do what we got to do.
Okay.
So when Shotzzy said we need to move back to the downtown offices, I'm like, boy, I'm about to put you in my closet in my house.
That shit. You know that shit was hefty. Being in downtown offices. That's prime real estate.
Yeah. No. Oh, I was going to say something fucking wrong.
This point has definitely caused a bit of a stir over the last day or so, because there's some out there that will say, look, Shotzzy is convinced maybe that at least it would make some difference moving back to downtown. Now, they got rid of that facility, presumably because they weren't really using it to the greatest extent that they could. I mean, remember when there used to be complaints about the internet at that facility from the Dallas Empire guys, and then they fixed all the internet lines. They put in like 2 internet lines, and I guess it got significantly better. But they've not used that facility for some time. Like, unless I'm mistaken, during their run towards Madrid Major 1, they were playing from the Hex quarters where they are still today. Okay, that was with Huke, but it's not like they were they were the #1 seed. So, the idea that it's the internet lines or it's something about the Hex quarters facility that's causing them issues, you know, it's difficult to buy that. Maybe there is some small 1% difference involved there, but you really think that if they move back to downtown, all of a sudden they'd be 3-0ing everyone again? Very, very unlikely. There's clearly way more to it than that. And, you know, Hex, I think, has a great perspective on this and says, look, I'm not unwilling to comply with requests from the players, but you know, come to me with this request when you guys are like 6-1 or something and you're having a good stage. If you're clearly not playing good COD from top to bottom, there's bigger fish to fry than, you know, the expense and whatever it would take to make that happen. I mean, instead of the expense of making that happen, you know, they should probably try and sign a HyDra or something. I don't know. It's not going to happen, but you know what I'm saying. It's just difficult to imagine that it's the setups that are somehow the problem when I'm watching OpTic play series after series looking lost on the map, right? Like, you know, this is why often these arguments about, oh, the ping was 10 more than it could have been, or the ping tool or whatever was going on, are always interesting to analyze, because it's like, well, okay, fair enough, there probably was some difference there, but also play some good fundamental COD, and then if you're just still getting gunned and losing the game in a close fashion, then sure, maybe it's a conversation. But if you're getting gunned and you've got no idea what's going on the map, then there are other problems that need to be solved first. That seems to be the perspective. Intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Scump's doing a 1v1, or at least 1v1ing the Scump watch party on the 21st of March, which isn't far from today, at the OpTic event, of course. People were calling it like OpTic tryouts as well and stuff, but $100 a kill is not bad going, so I think that's going to be very entertaining. But OpTic play again this evening. I know that Jake Hell tweeted about this on the Kenny to the sub thing. Look, Shotzzy said that it wasn't going to happen and he's not going to try the sub. He did also say that Pred was never coming back to OpTic, so that is a talking point as well. I don't think they'll try it at this point. I think that they probably should have done, at least in my opinion, change something, was my logic a while ago. Is it going to make any difference now? Probably not. And these are your 3 games of today. So the final 3 games of the qualifiers, and of course after tonight we'll know what the, you know, overall bracket looks like, and also we'll know what the seeding was going into the major. But well, I think it's very clear that Gorillas and Texas are already starting in the losers bracket, but they play each other today, and there is some, not even just pride at this point, but genuinely there are champs points on the line. I don't really want to have this discussion, but it is a necessary one. That Boston Breach, after their win yesterday, are now within 5 points of the 8th seed. The 8th seed in the CDL is currently occupied by OpTic Texas. And look, you may not feel like it's desperate for OpTic. They've still got a couple more stages to get some points on the board, and the major, of course, in Dallas, if they can get a decent run together going, which is possible always in front of the home crowd with the drums and all that, and the ring ceremony happening on the Thursday. But still, OpTic need to not be the 8th seed for champs, even if you're not so worried about them actually qualifying, which you may or may not be. If they're the 7th or the 8th seed, they play, likely, FaZe or Thieves round 1. I mean, even the 6th seed isn't going to be ideal. So that's the thing with OpTic, right? It's not even just about qualifying for champs. It's about qualifying for champs in a way that actually positions you optimally to make a run. But, you know, right now, neither of those things are easily true. So, yeah, I mean, 10 points right now for OpTic would be really nice. And they play a team that they, I don't want to even say should beat. I mean, certainly they should. They're the world champions, and Gentlemates have been struggling, but they played a bit better yesterday, Gentlemates. I mean, Luna's had his moments. I think they're still a poor team, really, compared to the rest of the league, but will they beat OpTic playing how they did yesterday, and with OpTic playing how they did last weekend's? You know, or even Friday? The answer is almost certainly yes. So, you know, OpTic will need to play better. It's an interesting series. It's going to be very, very telling. Like, if OpTic got 3-0'd here, I don't even know what to say anymore. Surely they'll win a map in this one, you'd think. But, yeah, not clear that they will. Minnesota Surge is interesting because Surge, I wouldn't say they've been on a slump lately, but of course they did lose to Toronto earlier in the weekends. They got Neslo'd. Their hard win is still very good. Minnesota, you know, who knows what's going to happen here. I think that Minnesota could put up a fight. They did to some extent against Thieves. I think I'll take Surge in 4, though. I think Surge will probably find a way to get the job done in this one. And then New York FaZe, actually a really interesting series to close out the day. Could definitely see an upset here. With the way that things have been going lately, I think New York winning is absolutely a possibility. If it goes 5, though, who do I pick? Probably FaZe. So, you know, I'm leaning FaZe's way, but probably only like 55-45 in this series. And just to close out the video, we have launched the Breaking Point app. The team have been working on it for a long time. I know you guys have been asking for this for a long time. I'll drop the link in the description box below, or you can go to our Twitter and you can find the link right here to get it downloaded, or I guess just find it on the App Store or something, because it's live on iOS and live on Android. Okay, there are some bugs we've got to get through and work out, but yeah, the team have been working on this for a long time, so finally we got something to market. So yeah, great job from all. Intrigued to your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.